Okay, so I have been actively avoiding the tradwife conversation, like genuinely running away from it. Because everywhere I look, it's tradwife this, tradwife that.
Tradwives are ruining society.
Tradwives are actually thriving.
And I thought, okay, the conversation has been had. We've covered this. Let's move on. And then I saw this.
I'm 19 years old, married, no degree, no 9 to 5, and I'm exactly where I want to be. Me and my husband dated for 6 weeks before getting engaged. I got married at my husband's house. Also, yes, me and my husband do have an age gap. He is 10 years older than me.
And suddenly, I now have a lot to say. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Capable, and welcome to the Girl Let's Chat series, the safe space where we unpack
The madness of the internet, the trends, the delusions, the
who approved this moment. Because TikTok will have you thinking this is normal, and I'm here to say, is it though? Anyways, girl, let's chat about tradwives and why it got a whole lot more complicated when teenagers got involved. So let us just start from the beginning so we can understand where this actually came from before we talk about where it's going. The term tradwife, short for traditional wife, refers to a woman who embraces traditional gender roles, staying home, cooking from scratch, homeschooling the kids, prioritizing her husband as the primary breadwinner. And look, this isn't a new concept. Women have been living this way for centuries. What is new is the way it has been packaged, aestheticized and sold to millions of people online. The hashtag tradwife has accumulated over 175 million views on TikTok alone. Google searches for the term skyrocketed in peak in July 2024. Names like Hannah Nealman from Ballerina Farm with 10 million TikTok followers, Nora Smith with 12 million, SD Williams, these women have built enormous platforms around this lifestyle. And the content is genuinely beautiful. Vintage aprons, sourdough bread, children running through the field, a seemingly peaceful and intentional life. And here's where I want to be really clear. This video isn't about judging any of these women. Choice is real. Feminism at its core is about having options, but there's a difference between a choice and a carefully curated performance of a choice, and that distinction matters. Here's the thing about tradwife content that I think people miss. It's not just lifestyle content. Okay, it's aspirational content, and aspirational content always seems to leave something out. And this quote describes it perfectly. Tradwife content prioritizes the aesthetic depiction of domestic life in a way that attracts viewers seeking a simpler or more peaceful lifestyle. And I get it, I do. When the world feels chaotic and overwhelming, watching someone roll pasta in a linen apron with soft music playing looks like heaven. But here's what the camera isn't showing you. It's not showing you the 5 a.m. wake-ups, the endless laundry, the isolation, the financial vulnerability. And it's not showing you the reality that this lifestyle is only possible if your husband's income is stable, consistent, and generous, which is a level of financial dependence that most financial advisors will tell you is a significant risk. A CNBC financial analyst said it plainly. Women who forego paid work are taking huge economic risk. They lose financial security, bargaining power, and independence. And research shows that the average age of widowhood for women is 59. Women on average live decades longer than their partners. So what happens then? And I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying make sure you are seeing the full picture, not just the aesthetic one. Now let me address something. I think it's actually really important context for why this trend exploded when it did. Because I don't think it's a coincidence. Social trend forecasters have pointed out that the rise of tradwife content happened at exactly the same time that young women are working harder than ever and barely scraping by. Rent unaffordable. Career ladders feeling impossible, burnout at an all-time high, and into that exhaustion walked this content, showing a woman who doesn't have to deal with any of that. Researchers describe this as a psychological response to existential disorientation. When the modern world feels broken and overwhelming, there's a deep appeal in the idea of opting out entirely and returning to something that at least looks simpler. The tradwife aesthetic isn't selling a lifestyle, it's selling an escape, and that is a very powerful thing to sell to a generation that is genuinely struggling, which is exactly why we need to talk about what happens when the content reaches teenagers. Now, this is the part that made me finally make this video, because grown women with life experience, financial history, and a full sense of self making an informed choice about their lifestyle is one conversation. Teenagers who are still figuring out who they are, consuming this content and aspiring to it before they have even had the chance to know themselves. Now that is a completely different conversation. And I want to be really careful here because, again, I'm not here to shame any young person, but I do think there's something important to say, and I'm going to try to say it in a way that actually lands. You cannot truly choose a life you've never lived, and you cannot choose to give up independence you have never had. There are women, real women, not TikTok characters, who lived the traditional life and found themselves trapped. Women who gave up careers, education, and financial independence, and then found themselves in situations they could not leave because they had no money of their own, no employment history, no safety net. This isn't an argument against the lifestyle. It's an argument for knowing yourself first, for having your own income, even a small one, for understanding what you actually want versus what the algorithm has been feeding you for, I don't know, like what, 6 months? This article made a point that stopped me cold. It suggested that a significant portion of Tradwife content isn't actually made for women. It's made for men who want submissive wives. The target audience is partially heterosexual men using this content to affirm what they want from a partner. And when you understand that, the content starts to look a little different. And I also want to mention the rise of podcast bros and manosphere content has played a role in normalizing the idea that this is what women should want. I did a whole video on podcast culture that I linked down below, so make sure you check it out after this video. So let's talk about what actually doesn't make it into the content, because there is a version of this conversation that I think is genuinely missing. Hannah Nealman Ballerina Farm gave up her place at Juilliard as a trained ballet dancer to pursue homestead living, and she has spoken openly about giving up a piece of herself to do it, and I respect the honesty of that. And look, the domestic work itself is real and valid and undervalued. Running a home, raising children, feeding a family from scratch, that is genuinely hard work that our society doesn't adequately respect. I'm not here to say that work doesn't matter, but I'm here to say that version of it being sold on TikTok, the soft lighting, the linen aprons, the perfectly behaved children, is a production. Someone is still scrubbing the toilets, someone is still cleaning up after everyone, someone is still doing the unglamorous, unfilmed, unposted version of the life, and the camera is never there for that part. Real quick sidebar, since we are talking about reinventing how we see ourselves and our lives, I have a free outfit worksheet in the description below that I think you are actually going to love. It helps you just to create brand new outfits from what you already own. No shopping is required. Just rediscovering what's already in your closet. It's part of my Shop Your Closet guide and it's completely free, so grab it down below. So if the tradwife life is genuinely what you want as a fully formed adult who has explored who she is, has some financial literacy, and is making an eye wide open choice, then that's your choice to make. Feminism is supposed to protect your right to choose, even choices that other feminists might disagree with. But if you're a teenager and you're watching this content feeling like this is the answer to everything that feels hard right now, I need you to know that the hard parts of life don't just disappear because you opt out of the workforce. They just change shape. And the one thing that you cannot get back once you've given it away is time. Time to know yourself, time to build something of your own, time to figure out what you actually want, not what the algorithm decided you should want. You deserve a life that you choose, not a life that you stumbled into because it looked pretty on Instagram or TikTok. So just know yourself first and everything else can come after. So let me know in the comments, do you think the economy is pushing women towards the tradwife lifestyle more than personal choices? Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the ending of today's video. If you liked it, please make sure to give it a like and make sure to subscribe for some different types of videos every week because we don't stick to the same videos here. I get bored easily.